childhood up, we have had to conform to a certain social game. And so we're in a constant state of competition. Criticism, secret. You can't make a mistake.
Welcome, everybody, to Friends of Failure. I'm your host, Sam. This is my co-host, Megan.
Heyo.
And as you can tell, it's just the two of us once again. I guess I was supposed to have Christmas music or something playing, like ring ding ling a ling ding ling ding a ding ding, right?
That's
and
perfect.
Then you start,
there you go.
Yeah, and then you start today. Welcome to our holiday special. That's really maybe nothing to do with the holidays whatsoever.
It'll start there. We'll see where it ends.
It's a brisk 81 degrees outside, and definitely feels like wintertime has finally come and it's here
Super
to stay.
festive.
We've moved recently, and by recently, like months ago, and in the new dwelling that we stay at, we have a fireplace. And Ashley's like, we should really make a fire. And I'm like, it's 75 degrees outside.
You're never going to use it. Yeah. For context, we live in Texas. It is not needed, except when the freeze comes and all the power goes out. So you'll have that.
There's a sweet spot that happens somewhere between January and December where it gets cold for 1 week. You never know when it's going to be, but it's a very small window, 12 months long. And I don't know. I just think at some point while we're living here, like if it's like, hey, we're moving and it's midsummer, I'm gonna have to just make a fire in the summertime. Yeah. I mean, here's my thing. How are you gonna know that we're getting to a point where at some point you got to go, hey, I don't want to be in an apartment. You don't have to, but I know I'm gonna do that, right? And it's like, do you want a house with a fireplace or not? And quite frankly, I'm the guy that's like, I want a fire pit in the backyard.
I'm more on that. Because but I'd say most houses you're gonna see a fireplace, even in Texas, oddly enough. Like a lot of them have fireplaces.
At one point in time, about 10,000 years ago, I think we used to have winter here. I've been to museums, and I'm pretty sure I've seen, they would wear these, I think they called them coats, or jackets is what they're called. People used to wear jackets.
Furs,
yeah. And so when they were inside, they were like, I don't want to wear my jacket, or furs, as you would call it. And so they would light fires inside their house.
And then they would say,
I'm being overly obnoxiously sarcastic, so
they'd go catch some dinosaurs, but
Oh wow, 10,000 years ago.
That math is real bad. I was not a science major.
I can't remember. I'll have to check. I might be a dinosaur major. It wasn't paleontology. It wasn't.
It's a dinosaur major.
And I'm pretty sure it was signed in crayon. I don't know. That was like back in the early 90s. So I did want to kind of ask, how was your Thanksgiving? How did that go?
It was pretty good. We ran the gamut. The husband and I have family and in-laws that all live within like 10 miles of each other. So we got to do all of that, which is great. I want to be thankful up front. It was great to see family, but it is also a lot.
Oh, yeah. So back in the day, I used to play a game called Gauntlet on the N64, and you literally were running through these dungeons, and you had to kill the bad guys, grab the gold, whatever. Just like that. And you get to the end, and then it's like, awesome again. And so that's kind of how I think Turkey Day and Christmas turn into, right? Where on to the next one, you're doing the same thing, on to the next one. And it's great because you get to see all these people you love and care about. But the only thing I equate it to is when you're supposed to go on vacation and you're being 10 times busier than you ever are when you don't ever, a lot of us make the mistake of not having resting time while in whatever vacation spot you're at. Like, I think I finally figured that out when I got to travel a lot in a small period of time, to the point of like, this probably isn't the last time I'm going to travel. Like, just enjoy it for what it is,
Yeah. It's
Go.
it's a common failure. Like whether it's like a beach vacation or going to see family for 10 days straight, nobody is like, this is a day, no one can talk to me. I'm gonna go do what I want to do or do nothing. Cause there's I think it's part of what we're gonna talk about, all the preconceived notions of what the holidays should be.
Right. Like, are you grateful for everything if you don't donate $10 million to a charity? And I'm like, well, couldn't I just donate throughout the year? And they're like, no. You've got to put it in the red bucket with the guy with the bell. And I'm like, there's a guy with a bell. Where is this? And they're like,
and
Walmart. Go to
just
Walmart.
a bag of money, stuffing it into
Obviously this is probably not the best idea, so please don't take this as advice, but what you do is you go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh
You
God.
win a bunch of the old school Chuck E. Cheese gold coins. I know everyone else has moved on and they get the paper tickets or it's all on a card, like a reloadable card, but not me. I still do it the old way. It's with the coins. So you get 10 pounds of these coins and you just dump them into the bucket and you scream, I did it. No, that's a bad idea. That Santa will chase you through the
Yeah,
parking
he'd be
lot.
like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah. Have you ever had both of your legs broken? Oh, wow.
Buy a mall, Santa.
Yeah. And of course, the easiest response is, it's a prank, bro. It's a prank.
Oh my God.
And I don't know who does that now after all these years of people doing that on YouTube, and it works. It's a prank, bro. Oh, why did you lead with that? Why? They're like, oh, it's a prank. And now they're like, I'm going to break all 4 of your legs. You're like, I only have 2.
Yeah, it only makes it worse.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that's the holiday spirit wrapped up in a nice little bow for you.
Just pranks all around.
So Thanksgiving for me, I only, I've been through the gauntlet, obviously is what I call it, referencing the 1997 N64 game Gauntlet. 2008 Facebook.
Oh my God.
It's geez. Sorry, Meta. It's called Meta. It was one of those, at some point you just have to kind of, who's going to be where, and you have to pick and choose your battle. And so it was a very simple, did a lunch and then did kind of a second lunch. And then it was like, hey, I probably won't eat for the rest of the day, until I did eat a little bit more like in the evening. Right. But like, this was the first Thanksgiving in a while where manageable is the word. I had a manageable amount of leftovers.
That's good.
And I'm a person that, it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving. It could be mid-July and they're like, hey man, we have 10 pounds of food. Can you take 3 pounds of food? Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. And then I'm overwhelmed because I'm like, I'm going to be eating, hamburgers or
forever.
Thanksgiving food forever. And by time, if you really mess up, by time you get to Christmas, you just get
you re-up. You just do it
resupply.
again.
Yeah. Another round on me.
I
turkey.
feel like you're complaining about the best part of it. You get leftovers, holiday leftovers. It's the good
you want to know what I'm complaining about is the guilt I feel when I have to throw away food. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the eating part, great. The gaining 10 pounds in such a short period of time, pretty great. The like, I couldn't do it. I'm a failure. And the older I get, the less I can eat. So I'm like failing more and more. You want to talk about failure? I can't eat all the leftovers. Yeah, I can't eat all the leftovers. So I have to throw them out. And then I just have this weird guilt for a couple of days of the starving children. And I mean, everywhere at this point, the whole
America
world has starving children. Oh my. I have an anxiety attack because we're talking about the starving children of Welcome to Christmas, right?
Holiday spirit.
Yeah, but so we had manageable leftovers. I enjoyed it. Ashley's mom just made a turkey like she always does, but dude, it was so tender. And days later, obviously I'm reheating it in the microwave and it like melted in my mouth. It was like a perfect. Yeah. And then we finished it super fast and I was like, what do we have to do to convince someone to make a second turkey a couple of weeks after Thanksgiving.
In the middle of December with Christmas on the horizon. Yeah.
And then when they go, hey, I'm gonna make a turkey for Christmas, you go, yeah. We're not waiting for that. That's the even more for later.
I need one every 2 weeks for the rest of
and so you tell yourself, like, maybe it's just money. I'll just offer a big sum of money for a person to cook a turkey like beginning of December. And they're like, no, it's not about that. I don't have time to do it. And I'm like, make the time. And then you realize, like, and then you realize turkey's not that important. I'll be okay. But genuinely enjoyed that. And I think I really enjoyed, I think a lot of people, because the whole personal trainer thing gets brought up all the time, is like, oh, well, he can't eat desserts because he's watching his figure. Yes, I am watching my diet, but like, I don't enjoy desserts as often as I used to. I had pumpkin pie this year. It's been a while, and it's so zesty. I don't know how else to, like, I get why people like
spicy pie.
It's a spicy pie. I get why people like the pumpkin spice vibe. But like, I don't want candles. I don't want coffees. I don't want whatever. I just want a slice of pumpkin pie. That's my pumpkin spice.
Did you see, God, I can't remember. I think it was on Twitter or something. This lady bought a Marie Callender's like frozen pumpkin pie. Did you see that thing? No. So this is a giant failure that she then blamed on the company. She bought it.
Taking notes.
Yeah. She bought it. Whatever she did, like cooking it, she just totally burnt the shit out of it. And she posted a picture on Twitter or somewhere tagging Marie Callender's and like roasting them and being like, this is a shitty product. This is your fault. You ruined our Thanksgiving. And it's like, bitch, you burnt the pie. It has very clear instructions. You can't go wrong with any frozen item if you follow the instructions.
And I mean, okay, cool. Can I acknowledge that maybe there are people, I haven't met them, but maybe there are people that have never like made a frozen dinner before. Maybe, right? Or like I at one point was a frozen dinner connoisseur, a partaker in the frozen arts of the culinary type. And there was a point in time where there was a change in the game. They like the preservatives, or maybe just the technology we had it. And you could have like a very unhealthy, but what felt like a home cooked meal, perfectly cooked in your microwave. It was great. Marie Callender's is one of the leaders of that. Like, they were like, hey.
Yeah, I've had nothing but good things.
You don't know how to cook, man. And whose fault is that? But we're not here to judge you, right? So here's a bunch of sodium. Here's some delicious Salisbury steak. And if that's not your cup of tea, here's a chicken fried steak, all right? And guess what? We're going to give you some corn. We're going to give you some potato. Hey, here's a little brownie. You're going to love it. You're going to love it, all right? Now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to set a timer. You're going to cook it at this. You're going to do that. And they obviously go too far where they're like, and you're going to want to sing to it before you put it in the microwave. I don't do that part, and it still comes out good. And then someone has the audacity to be like, Marie Callender, you listen here, little lady, which I think it's supposed to be like an old lady or a dead lady. I don't know.
Both, probably. Yeah.
It's a young, old, dead lady who's just trying to make a living, right? And like, you know what I'm saying? And so this person's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go online.
I'm going to blast them on the internet.
I'm going to blast them. And you're like, bro, these people, who is it? It's like Wendy's or Taco Bell, where they're like, no, like it turned into a meme.
They're funny as hell. Like, their socials will just be like, why are you dumb? Like, what do you want us to do? But I feel like I didn't read too far into that thread because I don't get on Twitter very often, but I just saw like screenshots other places. I'm pretty sure Marie Callender's like had a nice response initially, and then the comment section just unraveled into people being like, what the hell is wrong with you? That thing, it wasn't even like a little burnt, it was like black. Like, something went horribly wrong.
Well, you realize that the burning, right, the chemical reaction that happens as it was trying to turn itself into ash from all the sugar and whatnot, I guess, solidified the tin foil that it sits in to the crust, and the crust
It's probably like a
Well,
brick. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, hey man, you left that in there for days. Okay. I'm not a detective, but you left that in there for days. So now I gotta ask, did you get blackout drunk on wine and you woke up 2 days later?
And
Huh?
if that's the case, that's fine, but don't publicly try to blame it
Exactly.
on someone. It's
Exactly.
okay to fail, but it's not okay to be like, that's your fault, man.
First off, you're probably going, all right, no one's going to know because I blacked out by myself at my house. No one else knows. But I had to have this pie today, which I started making it 2 days ago, and I just overcooked it a little bit by 48 hours. You know who I'm going to blame? Marie Callender's. Put all the heat on them. And then when I'm there, hey, I didn't cook the pie. Oh, wait.
It was
That's wild.
all along.
And it's wild to me because we open this episode of, hey, there's a lot of assumptions of or like this weird expectation that we all kind of have, and we don't know where it comes from, of like, it's Thanksgiving. But people make mistakes, and I guarantee you most of the time, as long as you don't make yourself look dumb, I guess is the way we're going to go with that.
Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. People are going to just be like, hey man, like, you messed up the turkey or whatever, like stuff happens. The turkey's not important. You're important. Right. But have you seen that video? And I'm convinced that it was staged, though we all probably want it not to be staged. But this kid, they're in a basement. It's obviously that they went downstairs and they're underneath the house. There's like, wood pillars, whatever. They have lighting, whatever. It's a space where they have a giant table, and they're going to have like the, Last Supper kind of size meal. Yeah. So you're like, okay, there's like two foldable tables that have been opened up. They put like a nice little sheet from Dollar General on it. It's lit. I love it. Covered in food. And something's going on where, like, he's supposed to be the nerdy kid. He's got the glasses. He's real skinny. He's obviously like a teenager. And then, Uncle whatever is like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. And this kid's like, you know what? Fuck it. And he flips the table, all the food on the ground. God. And they're like, oh my God. And he's like, and I flipped the second table. And then he screams something and he leaves. I haven't watched it in a while. It's probably cringy to most people, but again, there's a part of me that believes it's comedy gold, that they were like, this is what we're going to do to go viral, before viral is like every other week, right? Who's viral this week, right? The top 100, now it was back where it was like, holy crap, have you seen this? And it'd pop up and you're like, no way.
Was it like Vine days? Yeah.
Maybe before then. I don't know. Maybe it happened last week and I'm just don't know who I am anymore. Blur.
Well, what was did they ever say what the fight, comment, whatever it was that triggered him to do that?
Yeah, I think you get to see it. I think it has something to do with video games.
Oh, well, that's fucking stupid. I was gonna say if his uncle was like racist, homophobic, or something, then sure.
No. You don't get to choose his emotions. Okay, look, obviously there's some severity.
Are you defending the video games?
No, listen. If it doesn't even, like, if I really love makeup and my
But are you going to ruin the holiday for everyone else? That's what I'm saying. Like,
if I'm sick and tired of a toxic family member to the point where I'm like, all right, everybody thinks it's a joke because he can say whatever he wants because I'm 15. Check out what this 15-year-old can do. All I'm saying is that, like, I've had family members, I'm sure you have too, where they're like, hey, you know what I'm going to do at the holidays where I see my family once or twice a year? I'm going to just go ahead and, like, be a dick. Yeah. And then you're supposed to just be like, and then go home and be like, that was dumb. When in reality, it's like, flip the table and then never go back to Thanksgiving. Don't look back. Burn that bridge and don't go back. People are like, Sam, what are you talking about? I don't know.
Merry Christmas.
Make fun of video games. Sam, you don't play video games. Not yet. You know what I'm doing this year? Welcome to my New Year's resolution, video games.
What I'm reading from this is you've definitely had that moment at like a family holiday where you were like, I would flip a table. Totally would.
I think I've had moments just like anyone else has where you're like, where did we come up with the acceptance of, oh, like, Aunt Aunt Vicky likes to throat punch all of the kids, but she's from a different time, so like we're just gonna tolerate it when she's here for the holidays. And I'm like, the holidays are sacred to me. All right, end of October, that last week of October, all the way until the end of the first 7 days of January are a sacred time for me. And
No throat
people,
punching.
none. Okay, if I'm not gonna do it, Aunt Vicky, who's
That's
98
for
years
the
old.
rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, she was in the war. I don't care. Okay. You behave, Aunt Vicky, just like I'm gonna behave. Okay. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just, this year um I spent time with a good group of people and like really thoroughly enjoyed it. And people are like, yeah, that's what you right. Why wouldn't you do that? And I'm like, think about it.
I think it takes a minute kind of going from when you're a kid and you're not in control of the holidays and it's just kind of happening to you to you're an adult or forming your own traditions with your spouse or someone and changing your standards. And for a while there were family members, I'll just leave them anonymous, that like had issues. They were throat punchers, we'll just like call them that. And maybe they were fine when I was a kid and then it kind of came out and I saw it more, whatever it was. And eventually it was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'd be fine not seeing you. And they kind of just take care of themselves in a way. They like know they're not as welcome at certain gatherings. So that at least worked out for me. Yeah.
Here's where, okay, so I've been doing a lot of reflecting and I think a lot about, you're 100% right. When you're a kid, the way you're going to make it through that is you're going to do what you're told. And of course, there's kids that like push the whatever, they get like expelled from school or they, get throat punched by Aunt Vicky, who knows? And so they're like, what did Aunt Vicky do to you? So there's just this whole thing where like, hey, this is how it was, this is how it's always going to be. Of course, when you're a kid, you gotta make it your own way, because there's two different worlds. There's the adult world and there's the kid world. And I think, to be frank, they're both fucked up. And you have to figure out yourself and how you are going to interpret that, live it out, and then move on, right? So the thing that seems really strange is that we have to, I think a big part of mental health is you do have to learn what boundaries are and then figure out what that means and how to, because like, I think we've talked about this before, right? Knowledge is power. Okay, sure. But the reality is knowledge being utilized as power. I can learn stuff all day long, but if I never ever implement it, it's just sitting in a library, right?
Yeah. So there's really quickly, there's a concept called DAKW, data, information, knowledge, wisdom. It's the hierarchy of kind of how that goes. So you have raw data, it means nothing to you. It's just words on a page. Information, there's a little more context, like you can get a little bit from it. Knowledge is applying it, like you're talking about. And then wisdom is like fully understanding it, which is a hard thing to do. Not many people can get to wisdom on stuff.
Grasping stuff.
Yeah.
Grasping something to the point of wisdom, I think, takes time.
Oh yeah, and that's a big part of it. And
so don't let me get too far into this rabbit hole, but I think that's one thing that I've contemplated, right? I am notorious for, I love to work out, but one of my favorite things to do, and I make sure to do it about 5 times a week, sometimes less, usually more. And I'll sit in the steam room or a dry sauna, listen to music, but like contemplate or like just get into almost a meditative kind of vibe, right? Where obviously I'm not meditating, but I'm somewhere else and I'm thinking. And I've thought a lot about how time is something that's made up.
It's a construct.
We all joke about it now, but
yeah,
like,
but it's kind of true. Yeah.
Right. It's a made up thing, but it was like, you don't have to reject it. It's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, it can be a good thing. Time can be bad if it's used against you in a sense of fear, but time as a tool is a great thing. And, it takes time. Whether we knew time existed or not, it does take time for things to happen. Hey, I got in an argument with Megan. I got to cool down. We got to resolve it. We got to move on. And like we could get in an argument and leave battle wounds, and they scar over and they don't go away, but you can move on from them. How do you do that? Through time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Are there some maybe gurus or like perfect controllers of their mind and emotion, or maybe they don't have emotion, and so they get in a fight, I didn't like that, and then they literally can move on? Sure, but
That's
would
a
argue most of
sociopath.
us.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Most people have emotions and reactions. Yeah. Sorry to all the sociopaths that listen to us, but
I like to come up and it's just a sociopath. I'm like, oh, oopsie daisy. I didn't know I wasn't invited. But okay, so where were we? It was
holiday fails.
People.
Do we want to
the
just
boundaries?
Yeah, get into some boundaries and then some stories. I'm ready for that. I have a few.
See, you have stories. I'm like, I told mine. It's about the kid who somebody was talking mad shit and he flipped those tables, man. Woo! He flipped those tables. No, yeah. So I think it's just interesting where there are individuals that I know and care about that have exercised like, hey, you know what? This year I don't want to go to whatever. And it's like, hey, like we all really love you, or I love you, or whatever. And they're like, look, it has nothing to do with you. I want to just take a day off. And you're like, okay, but that makes me kind of sad because no one should be alone on Thanksgiving. And they're like, listen to me.
It's like all they want. And
they're like, this is my Thanksgiving gift to myself. This is my Christmas gift to myself. I get this day to celebrate it alone. And dude, when you think about how you want to talk about sacred, that's a sacred thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you are able to go, you know what, I'm going to give myself time with myself. I'm going to hang out with myself and enjoy it. A lot of us are like, on to the next thing. What's the, where can
or you don't want to give up.
charged.
Yeah, I do the same thing. You don't want to give up that concept of idealized holidays. Like, I have to do this, got to go have the turkey, got to go get in a fight with someone, got to go, like, all of that. And it's funny you mention it because my husband and I have multiple times been like, what if we like just stayed at home? Because we thought about it. We've never had a Christmas in our house that we live in now. We did a Thanksgiving last year just because of COVID stuff. And that was actually, it's hard because it is a double-edged sword. We do enjoy our family, so that's not part of the issue. It's like you're saying, more of just being in a restful, peaceful kind of place. But I guess that's part of the problem we're talking about today, defining what is a successful holiday. And it can be individual. For you, it could just be truly it is a day of thanks. I can sit on the couch and do that. I can make myself my own meal. I can go get sushi, or I can go do, the whole big thing, whatever you want to do. You don't have to do the stereotypical thing.
Like I almost want to challenge you to a duel. I almost want to challenge you to like do that. And I think, I've brought up fear. We are going to get to your stories, I swear.
You do this every time.
I know. I just want to tell a story. It's gonna be all right. Hey, and now we have time for that. All right, guys. So thanks for joining for I almost want to challenge you, but I think there is a fear of like, well, what if this is the last time Aunt Vicky punches someone in the throat?
And I missed that beautiful shot.
Yeah. Or what if this is my last chance to fight Aunt Vicky, who throat punches people? I started going to an MMA gym. I am ready. And they're like, what? And you'd be like, you guys didn't know this was coming, but I've learned boundaries. I'm going to throat punch her back. Right. What is going on there? Right. But you don't want to disappoint people, right? And it's hard because we do have to be kind of selfish sometimes. Now I'll tell you this last thing, and then stories, promise. Me and my brother, we went to our little Thanksgiving shindig wearing really bright Hawaiian t-shirts.
It's the way to do it.
Now it was kind of pointed out to me because I had flamingos and like palm trees and stuff, and it was bright blue. His was more of like sunset Hawaiian, like red and crimson orange, maybe fuchsia in there, but mine almost looked like I was from Miami. And I kept joking I was Gary Busey, and I think that was actually kind of the life of the party. the fact that I wasn't Gary Busey, you know, they were like, thank God.
Just keep
Can you
saying
imagine?
incoherent thing.
Yeah. Wow. They're like, he hasn't drank. He hasn't done anything. He's just screaming. What's wrong with you, Gary? I love the holidays, man.
You should do that like the next holiday. That's your goal, is to be Gary Busey.
Actually, so I like to have a theme, right? That's where like the Hawaiian shirts came from, right? My brother was on board, but I think this year I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna buy like a $4,000 suit, and I'm gonna complain when I get mashed potatoes on them. I don't know. I might just dress up as the Grinch and paint myself green. I haven't decided yet.
I like the second idea better, just because I'm
Gary
imagining
Busey?
no, the Grinch. I'm imagining you buy the wrong body paint and it just stains your skin green for like the next 4 days after Christmas. It'd be great.
I did have a Halloween where I did tattoos all over my neck and arms. I was an escaped convict, and I thought I would look more dangerous with full sleeve tattoos drawn by a tattoo artist. I mean, she didn't do anything crazy, but she did it for me, colored it in and everything, and that did not come off. And people like acted like I was like people thought I acted like I should have thought about that, but I was like, you can get Sharpie off. It's only on
I
there
was
for
about
like,
to ask if you used Sharpie.
you can get Sharpie off, right? Because the thing was, I was like, if I sweat or whatever, like you go to the club, you sweat, I don't want it to come off. Which, like, here's the deal: a lot of it did kind of run a little bit. I was like, it's not going to be an issue. At a certain point, it's gone, but it's very faded. And you know, I'll just tell you this: it wouldn't bother me. I don't care. What are you gonna do? Fire me? Get out of here. Hey, idiot, you covered yourself in like permanent green paint. And I'll be like, yeah, dude, well, I made a mistake.
For next Halloween, I'm gonna do Post Malone's tattoos, like face tattoos, and then just show up to my corporate, not Sharpie. I think I'm gonna learn from your failure and hopefully not do the same. But then it's still gonna happen because something else went wrong, and then show up to my corporate job on Monday like, this is awkward, but
well, I guess you could jokingly but very ballsy say, what are you gonna do, fire me? And they're like, Megan, and you go, no guys, look, and you like start wiping it off. Just whatever you do with Sharpie, just don't get it too close to your eye. The lead singer of Blue October apparently would use Sharpie for eyeliner and like lost his vision at one point. I think it came back, but
so I'm gonna fess up. This wasn't even
wore it as eyeliner.
This wasn't even that long ago. I think it was when my best friend and I went to a concert, Amy and I, and it was in the last 5 years. So it's bad. It's totally like me just being stupid and desperate. I normally, when I go to concerts or events, I bring like eyeliner, chapstick, whatever, like little things to do touch-ups because it was hot. It was like July outdoor concert. I only had a Sharpie in my car and I did like black eyeliner. So it was starting to smudge and I just took a Sharpie and like touched it up, and it stings. It is not meant for any of that. But yeah, I didn't go blind, so there's that.
Maybe his was like a buildup. You know, I get how you could probably be like, not my proudest moment, but like I'll be real with you. Ashley wears makeup, you wear makeup. I know guys that wear makeup, people wear makeup, whatever. If I wanted to wear makeup, I don't know that I could. Like lipstick, easy. You put it on your lips, whatever.
That's
like
actually blush, way harder.
No. I mean, so I'll get to the point. So like lips are easy. I can put blush on. There's something about I guess even like eyeshadow I could handle, even though that would be uncomfortable. But when they start doing like the edge of the eye or the little wing or the eyeliner, you're literally drawing
your waterline.
The lip.
Yeah.
It's the lip of skin right outside
your
of
eye lip.
Yeah, it's on the eye lip right at the edge of your eye. And I know you people. Yeah, I said it. You people who wear makeup have stabbed yourself in the eye before. And you're
100%. I do it once a week.
And then you're like, You're like, I won't do that again. The next day.
All the
And if
time.
you don't do it, you're like, told you I wouldn't do it. But one day, eventually it happens. And I'm like, I've always wanted to have like really cool colored contacts. But I've literally done the thing, like I've watched multiple people put I've just pretended and got my finger as close to my eye as I could. I've even touched the side of my eye before because I've heard that if you can do that, you break the barrier. Nope. Nah, there's something about putting something into my eye. I can't do it.
Yeah, you'd have to get Ashley to like strap you down, like hands
Nope.
to your side,
It's called Photoshop.
and just Clockwork Orange, like open your
Nope.
eyes. Yeah.
I would just convulse until I died. That's how. Yep. Who wins that battle?
I had a coworker that asked me to put eye drops in for her, and I was like, okay, that's I don't know why you can't do that. And she's like, I just can't do it. And we go into the office in like a back room, and I start to try to put them in her eyes, and she's like screaming and dodging them. So I had to like hold her down and like put them in. And all I can imagine is someone walks down the hallway and just hears screams like from the back room. It's
It's
great.
Fight Club. It's Fight Club all over again, where he throws himself through the table, all the glass, and then someone walks in, and you're like, I was just trying to put eye drops in. I swear to. We made it. I think we made it to the end of the rabbit hole. Ladies and gentlemen, there you
The
have
whole
it.
episode.
We have made it. The stories will be on part
5.
2, starting December of 2022. Right. Okay, so are you doing these stories? If something pops in mind, I'll pitch in as well. But
Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. So I have one that comes to mind, just as like a funny little one, and it wasn't really my failure because I was a child. But
now,
it's
is this on the holiday?
Christmas Eve, going into Christmas morning.
Okay.
To
Okay.
set the
It's a
scene.
holiday. Okay.
Yeah, and I was young. I still believed in Santa. Sorry if I just ruined some child's. Probably should have prefaced that. Trigger warning, Santa.
Wow. Now I'm triggered. What is happening? First off, I don't know what you're talking about. Santa
I knew that was coming.
lives in all of us, and I leave him bourbon instead of milk because he's a real man by now. I'm sure of it.
That's a good response. Yeah, so Santa's super real in this scenario. I don't know, maybe 10, maybe a little younger. And
Okay.
the layout of my family home, my house shares a wall with the garage. You just need to know that for the story. I woke up kind of early, which is normal. You're like a little kid, you want to wake up as early as possible, go open your presents, that kind of scenario. But it was earlier than even Christmas early. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I woke up and I could hear something, and I was like, fucking Santa's here. Like, I hear banging. He's like outside, he's on the roof, like something is happening.
When you
And
said Santa's here, it sounded like you're grabbing your shotgun from underneath the bed. And I'm like, what kind of story is this about to be? So Santa's here. You're hearing it.
yeah, I was like, I thought it was going to be me catching Santa. I go out into the living room and I see like the trees lit up. There's not really any extra presents though. So like, oh, maybe he's like en route, like he's on the roof, he's by the house, something. And then I keep hearing like a banging somewhere. So I'm like sneaking into our kitchen, which attaches to the garage, which I heard from my room. And it keeps getting louder. And I open the garage door, and my parents are on the ground building a basketball goal. And they had the instant response of like, close the door, get out. Like, I'm sure it's pure terror. It's fucking 4 a.m. and your child comes in. It's like the worst nightmare scenario. So I like ran back to my room, and world just kind of like, is that like, was it supposed to be Santa, or like, are they getting me the basketball goal? I could not put it together. Yeah.
How did they play it? Was it a gift from Santa?
I think they did. Like, I think their method was just not to say anything about it and see if I said anything. But like, part of my childhood died that night. Like, it just
and it's hard for them because so now we're older and you look back and it's like, oh my God, no one made the basketball goal, right? Like, oh my God, we never put it together. Okay, we just have to do it. And so then they're doing it, and then the kid's like, Santa, and they're like, oh dear God, like, or it's even worse, like they couldn't find one, and then they found one the day of, and they're like, we did it, we nailed it. And then what they didn't realize is as they're building it, they unnailed it.
I've tried to like for years figure out the logic behind it, and I think it was just the size of because they only put together like the top part. They obviously didn't put a basketball goal in our living room. It was just the backboard and the net thing, and I think it was just the size of it. They couldn't put it together beforehand because it'd be super obvious in our very small garage, and like we didn't have a big house, so there was no place to hide that in a closet or something like that.
Right.
So I
under
guess
your bed.
Yeah, and there's just a net like sticking out.
If you look under your bed, you're grounded. What? It's right there. I can see it. The bed is up off the ground because it's just being held up. I can't sleep at night if you say a word, right?
Yeah, I think it was desperation for them, and they were just trying to like get it done. She won't wake up. It's fine. But like I shared a wall. I could definitely hear it.
Yeah, well, they all put us on high alert, and then like, what kind of sick life do adults live that they're like, I mean, at least once a year we got to make it kind of crazy. All right, let's get all these kids real psyched about a lie that we made up, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put presents together and we're gonna like lay them out. We're gonna pretend we're gonna live double lives. All right?
We're also going to threaten them that they have to be good. That was the whole thing. They're like, you have to be good, or Santa's not getting you shit. My parents were big on that.
And yet I was a piece of shit. And you know what I got?
I still got
everything I ever wanted. No.
It never worked.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, disclaimer. I was an angel as a child, and my parents might attest to that. So here, I would always say this is a fail, but I'm a little kid. I'm a hyperactive kind of dude. It was tenfold as a little kid. And God bless my parents. I don't know how they survived it, right? They created a hurricane and now everyone's just dealing with it, right? So I'm in first grade. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are born in the United States of America. That was a life-changing moment for me, and I stand by that till the day I die. A friend of mine that I grew up with, Crystal, can definitely tell you stories about show and tell every single time. I wonder like what Sam's gonna bring. I know I showed you guys this about 6 weeks ago, but look at how amazing this morpher is, right? Okay, so it gets huge traction right out the gate. At least in my world, that's what made sense, because guess what? They make a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie with the original cast that came. It might have been something in like Japan beforehand, but this is when it came to America, right? And it never left. So I go see the movie, and I would argue it's a good movie. Like, I actually feel like they pulled it off, right?
Yeah.
The Megazord was a toy that you could buy, and you could have all 5 of the Megazords and then put them together, or all 5 of the, creatures.
And then it makes a bigger like thing. Yeah.
The Megazord, right? So in this movie, they ended up getting new things because it's dinosaurs in the show, but then they go and become ninjas, and it's animals, and it's just, I mean, I'm 7. Like,
it's the best possible thing. Yeah.
I had the answers of God in my life, and it was the Power Rangers, right? So Santa Claus is coming to town, bro, and I know it. I'm laying there. I don't know what I'm gonna get, and that was the beauty of Santa Claus. He did phenomenal. He was like, "Nah, I got this on lock," right? I'm laying there, and I can't sleep. I'm looking up every 10 minutes. I mean, probably every hour turned into 6 hours of 10 minutes. It's
like slow torture when you're a child, because you're like, I'll go to sleep, but I really want to know what's going on.
Thing was, it would have been I knew even as a kid, it'd be so much less painful to just, please God, fall asleep. It's been 10 minutes. Please God, let me fall asleep. It's been 10 minutes. Please God, so then like there's that moment where you're like, maybe he's come, right? It's 12:01. Maybe he's come. And you're like, all right, open the door. Yeah. Here we go. All right, I'm going to open the door. I'm going to look out. And you're like, oh God, the light's still on in the living room. Like, and you like lay down and your heart's racing. Like,
he's going to know.
Oh my God. Okay. There's nothing out there. It's not time yet. why are the lights still on? If the parents don't go to sleep, how am I going to get the presents? I don't, right? So time goes on, whatever. Now it's like 3 in the morning, and I like open the door. I'm like, okay, it's dark. And I think beforehand, the lights had been out. I was waiting for Santa to come, and I had looked, and there was nothing there, right? Like I looked at the tree down the hall, and I was like, there's nothing there. He didn't come. Obviously, God knows how long eternity goes by, and I'm like, I got to check again. It's like 3 something in the morning. I open the door, and I see a silhouette, and I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. That's a perfectly logical reason for me to leave the room. Dun, 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 dun. And I like look, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? So I go to the bathroom, and I like, take my time. I assess like, what am I going to do? And I'm pretty sure what I decided is I'm like, you just have to kind of see what it is. And it's a box, and I'm like leaning in, and I'm like, okay, oh, is that the Power Rangers logo?
Good.
Oh my God, is that a? And then it was like, oh
Start
God, no,
hyperventilating.
yeah. Oh my God, I've been out here too long. So I run back to my room, and I'm laying there going, holy Jesus. Oh my God. He came, and there's, oh my God. I don't think
And
I
then
made
you
it
super couldn't sleep. Yeah.
I don't think I made it another hour. I think I made it to like, because there was a rule. There always had to be a rule of like, don't wake us
Yeah.
up before 5 or 6.
My family had the same thing. They're like, absolutely not before this time, because we did it before that. And they were like, no, it's not happening.
Right. And I think that's what happened is they were like, just wait till the morning. I was like, 5 a.m. And look at me now. I wake up at 4 a.m. Who am I? Right.
You're worse than the kids on Christmas.
So I was probably borderline having a fit, and it's time. It's 4 a.m, and I was like, I'm not gonna wake up my parents, but whatever. And I'm like, I remember like holding it and being like, oh my God. Like, I don't even think I knew that was an option for Christmas. That is the one Christmas morning that I will never ever. There's another one, and I'll tell you it. It's a way shorter story, but I will never forget that feeling of like, I didn't know this could be, I would have asked for this, or maybe I did ask for it and whatever, but it changed who I was. So I'm opening this thing, and I'm like, oh my God, there's no way. And it's big. I mean, like as a grown person, it's the length of, it like fit my torso. Like it was big. And I remember one of my parents being like, what is going on? Because I was probably like, have you seen the video where the kid's like, Nintendo 64, Nintendo, and he's ripping it open? But there was no Nintendo 64. I was just losing my mind. Probably what I thought was quietly. That I am very grateful that they pulled it off. You know what I mean? Where it was like, this kid's gonna lose his shit. This little 8-year-old's gonna have an aneurysm. Hopefully not, because that's murder. But you know what I mean? Like, it was incredible.
It's a success story. Yeah.
Yeah, except for the every 10 minutes I looked at the clock.
I feel like
the reason it's a failure is I learned nothing from that. That's not true.
I still do it.
So I feel like you had stories. You had multiples.
Oh, I do have a Thanksgiving story. Yeah. This one, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where you just don't talk to certain parts of the family after a certain event. Like when you're an adult, you're like, I'm just not into that, not cool with that anymore. It was kind of one of those. And without, like, it's about a political thing, so it's going to come up. But regardless of what side you're on, this shouldn't happen either way. So Thanksgiving, typical thing. I have a big extended family, make an awesome meal, go to one relative's house. Like, everything's still very much in the area of like what happens every year. It's good. Everything's positive. But it was right around, I think, the election, Trump election, the OG one. And things were tense like in that sphere, but normally the family doesn't talk politics. We'll just say that. And that's how it should be, honestly. Like, don't do that at big family events. If you want to talk about it later, one-on-one, whatever. But big events at a table of like 20 people, probably not good. Well, it got brought up, of course. And then what ended it, a bunch of fighting, bickering, arguing, was, we all started punching each other in the throat. No one could breathe, choking on turkey. Yeah, no physical altercations, but it ended with one half of the family who sided with one side chanting Trump, so loud that the rest of the family that wasn't either didn't want to deal with it or wasn't sided with that, however you want to look at it, left the room and went and ate in a separate area of the house. And I was like, okay, well.
That's what's so wild about, like, I don't know when it happened, but you and I both have heard where it's like, hey, at work, don't talk about
religion,
politics, probably sex. You probably shouldn't just go around being like banging and doing and it's like, you're at work. This is a KFC, bro. Get what? Stop. Right? You're at the cashier. Stop it. And it's so wild because I feel more and more so often a lot of us don't try to keep face, where it's like, hey, like, we both know we disagree, because like I have no problem with politics, I have no problem with religion, but like in any regard, whether you agree with me or don't. I mean, because like, think about it, like, let's say I like cookies and you're like, dude, I like cookies too, but you still keep trying to shove cookies down my throat. I'm like, bro, like, that's not okay. So like, whether you're green or yellow, whatever side you choose, like, shoving, even if you're
just
on
having
both green,
a civil conversation about it, and it just never really works
but
out.
it always turns into I'm right, and both people have to keep screaming. That's insane to me.
Yeah, and I think it happens more with families, because families are not chosen. It's your blood. It's just people you happen to be related to. Whereas your friends, like you and I, we chose to talk to each other. So we can go, hey, I respect you. I'm going to talk to you about this, even if we're on different sides of an issue. But your family, you're just put in a room with a bunch of people who range from like 90 years old to 2. And like they're from like completely different backgrounds sometimes. Yeah.
But like, and maybe that's one of the things that I feel can be a failure, is that some families aren't meant to just be thrown into a room.
Yeah. And that's kind of the learning point from that, is that there were certain family members. It was not all of them. The majority of that side of the family I love, but there's a few I was like, your behavior from this day on, I don't view you like the same.
Because I will tell you, I mean, like, you always hear about military and like, brotherhood, right? There is a such thing as brotherhood and sisterhood, of like being in the shit with people, right? It doesn't matter who they are. It's like, if you can get to a place in your life, and you don't have to be like in a life-threatening situation, it could just be like a hard task that gets accomplished, right? I think you and I can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the shit, as some of us like to call it, and it's like you bond in that. And so there are times where people will be like, well, family is blood, and I go, no, family is the people I choose. My blood are my blood relatives. That's what they are. Vin Diesel says it best. Family, what are we doing? Family isn't, family.
It was spot on. It was good. And
he knew so many words or so many meanings in one word, family, right?
I think you're 100% right. And when I say they were blood, I guess it's still that transition that we talked about earlier, from kid holiday of like, I have no choice but to be here because I'm a minor and like you have to watch me. And then being an adult and going, I don't have to deal with you, actually. I don't like how you're acting. So I'm not gonna.
So do we have two things? Do we have the reservation to be able to, like, well, I'm gonna flip the switch and I'm gonna pretend I have to be here, so I'm a minor, like, you have to babysit me? They'd be like, what? And then you just start drinking, like, you don't even pour a glass, you're drinking Captain Morgan from a bottle, and you're like, good luck, right? And they're like, what did we do to deserve this? And I'm like, maybe you should have some self-reflection.
Good luck, motherfucker.
Yeah. One of us isn't gonna make it through the night. Oh my god. But you know what I mean, where it's strange, because you're not wrong. There is a part of it that, man, and I wonder how that goes, where like you show up to Thanksgiving and all the adults are like, okay, the kids are here, they know not to leave, they're 6, they got it, and everybody just gets drunk because it's the holiday, and like kids are like,
that does happen.
Wearing a turkey on their head, running around
it's definitely a thing in some families.
So this is going to be another shout out to Santa, and this will be a quick one because I think a lot of people are going to be like, what is he talking about? But I'll never forget, the brother was younger than me. He was still playing the game. And I was like, hey, I'm not anti waking up to some surprise gifts. Let's do this. Right. And, leave out the cookie, leave out the milk, go to bed. I'm at the point where I'm like, it's going to be there in the morning. I actually sleep, at least for a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
I've outgrown. I did break out of the, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, I guarantee the year after getting that Megazord when I was like 8 or 9, I was probably just laying there like, how do they top that? I just can't.
How are they gonna do it?
I had to bring myself back because my heart stopped out of excitement. And I remember going out there and like there's gifts laying out, and the brother's like, oh, dude, man, and I'm like, dude, look, yeah, and I'm at the point where I want to enjoy him. He got the package. The UPS did their job. Anyway,
he's having his moment.
Yeah. And then I look over and I'm like, okay, all right. Got some CDs I wanted. I'm like, I got some movies. I'm a movie guy at the time. I'm probably like, I think I'm like 16. I'm in high school. What the hell is it? So I'm that guy. I was gifted VHS movies because I had a VCR still. I didn't have a DVD player. I was in high school. What do you want from me? And it was The Breakfast Club. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, hey, check it out, see the movie, don't judge it, whatever. But it's like bright pink. It's got these like kids posing. And I'm like, what is this, like an instructional video of how not to be a jerk? What is this?
It's a classic.
And well, I didn't know that. And so and I go and I watch it. I was still young enough that like I would get Lego sets and I enjoyed putting them together. Maybe I still played with them, but probably not. I think I just enjoyed the building
process
of Legos.
Yeah.
And pop it in. I figure worst case, I check it out, whatever, but I'm going to put together this Lego set or puzzle or whatever it was. Pretty sure it was Legos. I liked the movie so much that I rewound it and then played it immediately after. I watched it 2 times in a row. And then I like went out there and was like, yo, mom, have you seen this movie?
And she's like, oh my God.
She's like, wow, dude, where the hell do you think this came from? Well, hey, anyway, it's a great film. I think you should check it out. And she's like, no, I'll watch it. I watched it 3 times on Christmas Day.
Wow.
And then I watched it again the next day because I was just like, what is this? And that's what opened the door to like 80s movies. Now, of course, who didn't like Molly Ringwald or whatever, right? Like Emilio Estevez, right? Mighty Ducks, baby. But it was one of those things that it was just like, what he needs to see, and she was 100% right. So that's a shout out. Go Santa. You know what I'm saying?
You just have success stories.
No, it was a failure because look, sometimes in life happiness is bad.
Don't try to spin it. I have another failure, and this like I'm gonna preface it with I love this woman so much and an effort was made, but my late grandmother every single Christmas would get me something ceramic, and it was normally a cat or salt and pepper shakers, and this was from like a young age. So a fucking 10-year-old being like, oh, salt and pepper shakers from my house, yay.
Did any of them make it to adulthood?
They're all in my dad's guest room closet and like a shelf.
He was like, don't worry, sweetheart, and just put them into the
he's like, I can't look at these anymore, and
oh man, how many did you get?
Like, I think I got them on birthdays too, so a lot. And
to the point of throwing them away.
I don't think I threw any of them away because it's sentimental. Like, regardless of me not actually wanting it, like it was a failure because it was not on my list and I did not enjoy it. My grandma gave it to me and she was a sweet lady. So like, I didn't want to be like straight in the trash. Like, felt wrong. And then you start to get attached to it and it's like, yeah.
I have one thing that my grandmother like gave me, and I remember her giving it to me. And yeah, like it's not like in a safe or anything, but it's one of those things I know where it is. And like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like it's the
you
one
can't
thing
part with
that,
it. Yeah.
Now I will tell you this, you could probably throw away all 99 and keep one.
That's like, you're making me think I probably need to do that this Christmas, is go through the closet shelf, pick a few keepers, and then decide what to go smash in the alley.
You could have a different set every month. And when you like invite people over every month or every other month and see if they notice you have different salt shakers out, they need to be somewhere weird. Like they're in the bathroom, like next to the soap. Hey, Megan, I see. No, Megan, I see you changed out the really strangely placed salt and pepper shakers. Very nice. You'd be like, my grandmother gave them to me, right? Keep the memory alive.
Just showcase them. I think I got a few salt and pepper shakers, but then it got real hard into cats. And I had a cat, but like I wasn't a cat lady. I just owned a cat since I was 4. Are you right?
I just had a cat. No, I had to remember something.
I thought you were like, cat, got it. Present idea.
All right. So what is she getting? Salt shakers. I'm keeping the dream alive, Grandma.
But I had so many. I think cats were the most overwhelming thing. I had so many at a certain point that like it was just a cluttered shelf in my room of ceramic cats, cat music boxes, like the whole 9 yards. And yeah, I don't know. I guess like, is it a failure if the person just keeps giving you the wrong thing over and over? But the problem is, as a child, your parents are like, you better say thank you, like be nice to your grandma, even if you don't like it, and you love her, so you do it. It's like the little girl opening the avocado. Have you seen that video? And she's like, oh, an avocado.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm gonna set it here. Right. I would have just been like, oh yeah, is this funny? And then bite into the avocado, and they're like, oh. I do like avocado. No, dude, I do think where if we had to like dig for a failure, right? Because I think we come from the place of looking at failure in a place of like there's a misconception of what it's always talked about as, and like where are we really learning our lessons? And I think it's cool because like at some point you were like, there's sentiment to the gift giving part, right? And you know, as a little kid, I want toys. Give me all of them. Oh, what kind? Anything Power Ranger. Yeah, no, that'd be great. Or apparently 80s teen movies, like when I was a teenager. But you know, it's kind of strange how we're able to look back and
it changes. Like, yeah.
Enjoy it, right? Like I know people have the conversation of like, do we play this game until they get old enough to figure it out? And then however they figure it out, we just kind of have to go, it was us, but like, hey, like we really love you and we hope you really had a good time with that. Like we're not all lying to you about everything. And then you really become an adult and you go, oh my God, everything is a lie.
Yeah. Like, is it worth it?
Happy holidays. Like, and that's the end of the
Well, even if I had the wherewithal as like, say a 12-year-old still getting those gifts, to be very nice and say it in a good way. Hey, grandma, I don't like cat ceramics, but I'm in too deep, man. Like it was too fucking. She'd be like, but I gave you 6 years of cat ceramics at this point.
No. It literally 5 minutes ago, I decided I didn't like him anymore. You know, us crazy kids. They're like, you're 38 kids. Am I right? And that's fair though. Yeah. We invested a lot into things.
Yeah. And I
read it out.
I guess like you make a good point that it felt like a failure. Like, oh, grandma got me another ceramic thing as a kid. But now I'm like, I open that closet when I visit my dad. I'm like, meow, meow. There we go.
meow, 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 meow. Shameless plug. Dude, that's what I need to do is start taking those and re-gifting them to people. That's how we pay it forward.
Pass it on. Yeah.
You didn't smash them. You didn't have to like go through a painful process of what do I keep? You paid it forward and I give them to strangers.
I know you didn't read like Lord of the Rings, but in the Hobbit world, that's literally what they do with their gifts. They just re-gift things. That's like their whole concept. So we can just be hobbits about it and be like, here, father-in-law, here's a ceramic cat I thought you'd enjoy.
They're like, I gave you that. I said your grandma like gave it to, but well,
the cat killed my whole family.
Oh man, you knew this. You it's all the time we have today, man. I feel like we could do this all day.
We could try to do it again before
like a part
holidays. 2. Yeah, it's possible. maybe part 2, maybe not. No promises there. That's the plan.
There is a part 2, but then there's someone that like we had scheduled who's like listening to it and they go, did they cancel on me to do part 2? How could they? Right.
We would never do that to our guests.
Nah,
Yet.
hey, this is how you're going to be able to have Christmas at home. Is we're going to do a live 24-hour from midnight to midnight
The whole
podcast extravaganza.
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I can't do that either. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sam likes to sleep. Well, hey, I had a really good time. I hope somebody or some bodies out there get to listen to this and enjoy it. If not, what ifs? I don't even.
We don't care. It's fine.
I don't hit the refresh button every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes to be exact. Is it here yet? Is it here yet?
It's like Christmas, man.
Do we need to shout out socials? Look, we're friends of failure.
Still promoters.
Look, we're friends of failure. All right, you're gonna go clickety clack some kind of like button somewhere. Instagram, Facebook.
Smash that subscribe.
Yeah. If you want to see it, it's on YouTube. If you want to hear it, it's on all of it. Spotify, check it.
I like this like mildly aggressive. Like if you want to do it, fucking do it. I'm not gonna
guess
make
what?
you.
Guess what, guys? Bad news bears. Ethel didn't make it. We don't have a phone number anymore.
Rip.
Hey, it's okay. Nobody was calling. I called it once. Well, the first time I called a stranger, I think. Second time I called it, I left some kind of goofy voicemail. So technically, Ethel got one voicemail. Good job. Bravo.
She may be resurrected, but you guys have to give us a reason. So you can still email us at friendsoffailurepodcast@gmail.com. But that's all you get right now because you failed us. Now we're just blasting our audience. Our 2 listeners are like, I've been loyal the whole time.
It's my mom. She's like, I tried. I didn't know I was supposed to call too. I watched every episode. I'm like, no, Mom, that wasn't towards you. Dad, it's okay. Just I always love like my brother. He'll be like, hey man, so I was listening to the episode the other day and he's like, no, that was good, man. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate that. And I'm like, you know, he'll listen to it or sometimes he'll watch it, like he'll turn it on while he's gaming or whatever, and he'll just be like, yeah, no, hey, I saw, you know, the author or the, you know, the life coach or you guys did a one-on-one episode. And I'm like, I appreciate that. But like the thing is, now we've just opened the gates of hell and we're gonna get crucified because everyone's gonna be like, oh, we killed Ethel, maybe you shouldn't have burned the Marie Callender's pie, Sam.
This is your fault.
Everybody knows my dirty laundry. Oh boy. Oh, speaking of which, I think I put a pie in there when we started recording.
In your laundry, in your dryer? Dear God.
No, it's in the oven cooking. It's the you just hear the fire alarm. Oh man. Oh, I love it. Hey, I had a great time. I hope everybody enjoyed listening. You know, we thought we'd be funny about our socials this time. Don't take it personally. Or do. See what happens. Sorry, I was still in character. I do want to do our little thing before we sign off, and that's leave you with life is happening for you, not to you. So like go do whatever you want and fail.
If it's not I'm stronger than you, it's I'm wiser than you, I'm more loving than you, I'm more tolerant than you, I'm more sophisticated than you. It doesn't matter what it is, but this constant competition is going on.